Shu is out and about this evening as she's covering the primary for us in the field. Let's bring her in as our team coverage continues tonight. Kiki, where are you and what's going on?
JR, I'm here at the State Election Commission office, and we have just learned that in the South Carolina Attorney General GOP race, there will be a runoff. Now, that runoff is going to be between Stephen Goldfinch and David Strumbo. Now, they're both Republican candidates, and I do want to say Stephen Goldfinch was a little bit ahead this evening with 41.88% of the vote, and then David Strumbo with 34.29%. Was also part of that GOP race. He had 23.83%. It looks like he has fallen out of the race tonight. So that runoff that will happen in 2 weeks for the GOP Attorney General seat. Again, and that's going to be Stephen Goldfinch and David Strumbo. Now, the Election Commission Director, Conway Belangia, told us that voters need to be ready in 2 weeks for this runoff. They need to come back and show up back at the polls. Now, I want you to take a listen to what Conway Belangia had to say. And I'll be bringing that for you a little bit later, a little bit of technical difficulty, so we'll have that ready for you, and you can hear from him in just a couple minutes later this evening. But again, that runoff will be happening. I'm live here at the State Election Commission office, and I'll be bringing you more info about this Attorney General runoff. Live, Kiki Gashu, News 19, WLTX.
Probably not a big surprise there, a runoff in the Republican race for State Attorney General, John.
No, not a big surprise. Again, the third place candidate there, David Pasco, who really became a single issue cause celeb sort of candidate based around corruption, was a lifelong Democrat. President Trump weighed in very aggressively against him, and so for him to come in third, what may be more of a surprise is how tight the race is going into this runoff. Stephen Goldfinch came in with significantly more resources, and that said, we're still heading to a runoff. There's a distinct difference between the two candidates that voters will have to choose. You have Stephen Goldfinch, who's a politician, a senator with a conservative record that has run campaigns before and everything. Then you also have on the other side a prosecutor that has the endorsement of sheriffs and kind of more of the law and order type. So one that's more focused on the government policy aspects of the Attorney General's office, and the other more on the law and order crime side.
And Goldfinch is a low country lawmaker, I understand, and Strumbo is an upstate prosecutor. So, absolutely. Bob, could it be conceivable that the battleground here for that race might be right here in the Midlands of South Carolina?
Yeah, certainly, given that both the upstate and the Midlands are the low country have name recognition and know those two candidates. It's going to be kind of campaigning here in the Midlands to try to get their name and their issues known, so that's where the battleground might stand. But even though it's a runoff, Goldfinch did have a fairly I think 8-9 point lead, so that Strumbo has an uphill battle to try to overtake him in the runoff.
I thought Pasco would have done better, but I know what happened to him when they really beat up on him by switching parties. That didn't help him at all. So it is what it is.
Well, Pasco been a lifelong Democrat, and I believe had campaigned for former President Biden many years ago, and that got a lot of news attention, especially on social media over the last month or so.
Absolutely, and he also did lie about it. That was very clearly shown on television commercials. There was huge ad buys that were put forward to try to make sure voters saw that comparison, that contrast. That certainly had to have taken a hit out of him. At the end of the day, voters do tend to punish politicians when they are caught lying. They know they lie, but don't get caught doing it. So,
all right, our Erica Glover.